Hello again. Loot is back for season 2. Excellent. The Apple comedy stars Maya Rudolph as Molly Wells, a very rich divorcee who dives into her charity work after finding out that her husband cheated on her, season 1. She's helped by her assistant, Nicholas, played by Joel Kim Booster. In the new season of the show, created by Alan Yang and Matt Hubbard, we see Molly swear off men and focus on wellness. We're about to find out how to spend $87 billion. So please welcome to the stage Maya, Joel, and Matt. Before we chat to them, we're going to watch a clip.
What are you doing here?
You know, I could ask you the same question.
I live here.
Okay, that's a very good answer.
What is going on here? What is all this stuff?
I have a very reasonable, completely understandable explanation for all of this. I've been secretly living in your guest house for a few weeks and never told you.
What?
What's up, Molly?
Okay, who is this? Who are you?
Oh, this is Reginald. He's been crashing at my place for a while.
You don't have a place. This is my place.
Are you who I should talk to about the Wi-Fi? Because that's slow as hell. I mean, my Twitch followers, they can't handle the lag.
Reginald, are you wearing my pants?
Maya, have you had anyone live in your guest house without your knowledge?
No, because I don't have one.
Fair enough. Molly's come a long way from the start of season 1. Where do we find Molly at the start of season 2? Can you give us an idea of where she is?
Yeah, Molly at the start of season 2 is nursing her wounds a bit, but has really taken charge of her life. She's decided, yes, she's swearing off men, but for her that includes a wellness, a real growth at the Wells Foundation, and really stepping into the role of being boss, which I think is really invigorating for her. She's really starting a new life.
She's swearing off men because of an incident at the end of season 1.
Yeah, she slept with her ex-husband, let's be honest. I mean, that happens. You have the mess up after the breakup. I'm sure some of you have had that. No one? Thank you. Thank you. And that happens, and then you realize, okay, that was pure emotion. This is not working for me. And so she really, but Molly takes it very seriously. What I love about Molly is she always dresses the part. So at the beginning of the season, we're seeing her in a lot of whites, a lot of creams, a lot of neutral palettes.
Her outfits are pretty wild throughout the show. Is that intentional, the costumes, in terms of what it says about her?
Yes, I think so. I mean, we have so much fun creating Molly and her look. And for me personally, it comes from growing up watching shows that I fell in love with the characters and I couldn't wait to see what they were wearing the next episode. Like that's a huge part of wanting to be an actress for me, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's so much fun. And I think it's also what the element of joy is when I watch the show, is that anything can happen, you know, so she really can wear anything. Sometimes she dresses literally. I think at one point she looks like a pilgrim because she's, you know, abstaining. And I love that about her. She really takes it seriously.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Matt, you worked with Maya on Forever. What was it about working with her that you wanted to turn into a billionaire divorcee?
Oh, well, you know, I think one thing we loved doing with Forever was Maya can absolutely play everything. She can be hilarious. She can also, you know, show you the emotion underneath the character. And when we conceived this idea of a billionaire's wife, it was like, wow, like, it's a really fun character in a fun world, but you gotta like Molly, right? And there is one person we think who can do that, and it's Maya Rudolph.
Wow.
Wow. Yes.
It's my birthday. Thank you. It's not my birthday, but it feels like my birthday. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Matt, the show has echoes of Mr. Bezos's ex-wife, Mackenzie.
I like when you say it,
Scott.
Bezos.
Yeah, we still don't know how to
Sounds-
pronounce it.
Yeah, we still don't know how to pronounce
David Bowie, I get it. Was that intentional? What do you think that says about us as a country in 2024?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we made the show. When we were sort of figuring out the idea, I was reading so much about billionaires, and some of them had been going through divorces, and that's where we kind of came up with the idea. But what was also so interesting to Alan and my co-creator and I, it felt like billionaires just have an outsized influence on our lives. I almost feel like they're like American royalty, right? Like they are our royalty. We look up to them and are challenged by them and are worried about them. So I think it's a really fun, particularly American kind of issue and a great world to explore.
Yeah. Did anyone at Apple bristle at the idea of you making a story about Amazon's founder?
No, not at all. I don't know if Amazon is watching or has drones here or anything, but we will. No, they've been incredible, and I think they understood the humanity of the story, and were also willing to give us the resources we need to sort of like open up a lens onto this world in a way that I think we really love doing and take a lot of pride in.
Yeah, I bet.
And also just like in so many things that in the way that I like to tell comedy stories, it's not really, it's an amalgamation of people. It's not just one person. And so you just, you pillage, you take from everything and you make a stew. And so it's our creation.
She's much more like Grimes than she is Mackenzie Bezos.
Yeah.
Yeah, much.
Grimes to Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that a little bit. The outfit's probably the most, right? Yeah. Joel, Nicholas has, he sort of comes out of his shell in season 2. You find out a little bit more about him. In the first season, he's very snarky. Season 2, he seems to divulge a little bit more about his life and so forth. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, I think like they did such a great job in season 1 of creating this really fun character that was certainly not a stretch for me by any means to be a mean gay guy. But
that was the original name for the character, right? Mean gay guy?
But no, it was really nice in season 2 that they gave me the opportunity to sort of peel back some of those layers and see why he might be the way he is and why he has those walls up and why he uses, I think, some of that snarkiness as a defense mechanism against, obviously he grew up in a very specific environment, and I think we get a peek into that, and it's nice to humanize him a little bit and ground him a little bit more so that it's not just, because let me tell you, I get called in to be a gay assistant constantly. It's the only role Hollywood wants to see me play, and I'm so grateful that I get to do it in a way that feels like a real three-dimensional human being and not just a caricature. So
Yeah.
You wear it well, honey. You wear it well.
He's slightly more than just an assistant, right? He has a slightly complicated or complex relationship with Molly, part assistant, part bartender, part, he's sort of emotional support buddy.
Part mommy.
Yeah. Definitely like a pet.
Part baby.
Part baby, part mommy. Yeah. I reached out to Mackenzie Bezos's gay assistant, and we had a sit down, and I really got to dig in deep with what that dynamic was like. Yeah.
It's a buddy comedy, really, between the two of them, right?
It is. This season, I feel like we are leaning into it heavily, and it's making me so happy. Yeah. And we've talked about their dynamic. They don't role play, but they do. They switch roles all the time, and so sometimes they're both the mom. Sometimes one of them's the mom, one's the baby. Sometimes they're both the dad. It's a love. It's a true love.
Sometimes they're both drunk aunts. Really works.
Because
neither of them should be driving.
No, most assistants would get fired for some of the stuff that Nicholas says and does, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think the fight in the episode that just aired in season 3 too. It's like moments like those that make the relationship so much more fun in season 2. I think is like seeing the tension too. Like I think the back and forth, the okay back and forth. I think there were takes that lasted like 11 minutes of just us saying okay back and forth at each other, like an acting exercise, and. Moments like that, I think, we really treasured in season 2.
I feel like any great comedy relationship, it's two people who love each other in a deeply, deeply unhealthy way.
Because Molly needs Nicholas, right? She can't.
100%.
She's not very good on her own.
No, and she has to prove that to herself. But Nicholas is her family, and I think what I love playing about Molly is her natural desire for family. She creates her own family. When her own family fails her, when her divorce happens and she loses her husband, and she realizes she's put all this time and energy into someone else's life, she really recognizes what's important for her and who she loves and who loves her and who's always there for her. So I love that you get to understand Molly through her relationship with Nicholas, and it's also like the fun stuff, that we get to play, because you got to pull me back all the time. I love the big stuff, but it is important to play all of the emotion and the nuances, and that's why I like getting to know Molly through her building the relationships this season with all of the characters at the Wells Foundation.
The other person that she sees a lot is David Chang, who appears to live in her kitchen. Matt, have you got something against David Chang? There's a lot of anti-David Chang in this.
There's a lot of David Chang, and Alan, my co-creator, is friends with David Chang, and when we were thinking of like, wow, what would a billionaire be able to do that a millionaire couldn't do? We were like, basically hold David Chang, one of the most successful chefs in America, in some sort of indentured servitude. It's not totally clear what's going on. And he is incredible and shows up whenever we ask him. And I think Maya was talking about this, I love those details of her world, right? Anytime we can get specific and really see how deeply, deeply wealthy she is, it's really fun.
And just hanging out with Tony Hawk, not really skateboarding.
No, not really skateboarding. She doesn't do that, but she likes to pretend that she does. Yeah, I think it's part of her getting well. And like I said, there's something about one of the most exciting things about this show, and when Matt and Alan brought it to me, was this. I've noticed in my career that a lot of the things I'm drawn to have a magical quality. And the thing about Molly being a billionaire is there is a magical element. Every once in a while, if she's going to work out, she's going to work out with Tony Hawk, and it's these things that we don't do and that we don't normally see that spark this excitement in the same way that, like, when I was a kid in the 80s, I used to like watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. You want to see the inside of people's homes and go, what is that? Like, you've never seen a bed in that shape before, or that kind of a slide going into a pool, but it's fun,
I won't spoil the ending. We haven't, it hasn't aired, but the finale is titled "We Shouldn't Exist," which is a pretty good phrase for billionaires in 2024, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think like what Matt was saying earlier about how billionaires have like a really outsized sort of influence on politics and the way our country is moving. And I think that's why the strikes that we saw last year were so powerful, and the labor movement sort of happening across industries right now. Because, listen, like, voting is important. Obviously, yes, go vote. But, like, really, I think really bringing the fight head on to the people that are actually pulling the strings right now is the way we're really going to see change in this country.
Matt, where would Molly and Nicholas be if you get picked up for season 3?
I don't one thing we've been talking about is like billionaires are always traveling, right? Like, I feel like they're always on their jet going somewhere, and we're like, let's put Molly and Nicholas all throughout the world and start to explore and I think that is, again, like, and we can talk about issues they're facing in the world, but also just we could all take a trip to Hawaii and shoot an episode there. Yeah, and just sort of like expand the world and see what other fun we can have.
But I mean, along the lines of what you were saying before, is there is the thing about this show that grounds it for me is that there is the philanthropic aspect of the show, and there is a conversation that is always created. I love the space for everyone idea that was brought up this season. I love that it's something that we're talking about, the idea of doing something in your own city, taking existing buildings and creating housing for the unhoused is a wonderful conversation to have. And I feel like it's nice to balance that. And I feel like the show is constantly doing that. And sometimes we've even seen it reflected. We've heard stories about billionaires giving away their money, and we kind of went like, holy shit. Did they watch the show? You know, maybe somebody with a lot of money watches the show and says, I'm going to buy all the hotels in downtown Los Angeles and put unhoused people there. That would be nice.
Yeah. To paraphrase Mrs. Dalloway, it's very like, I'll buy the fucking flowers myself, you know? Like, just, you don't have to wait around for other people to make change. You can do it if you have that kind of power.
Well, look, on that note, I think that's a great way to end this. So please thank Maya, Joel, and Matt.
Woo!